It's always a delight knowing you're there. The program is Agriculture in Focus. Agriculture in Focus is a production of Part Agro Media. Part Agro Media is all about advancing food security and agribusiness. My name is Alpha Jagden. On today's episode of the program, we will be looking at dry season farming. There is no gainsaying that all stakeholders are doing all they can to see that we bridge the gap as far as food insecurity is concerned. That will form the thrust of our Vox Pop and our eventual interview segment. After the interview segment, as usual, I'll hand you over to Abigail Stowe for some news that you can use. That will be followed by Timmy Simpson, who will bring us common sense agriculture. The show will come to a close with Balogun Anthony bringing trending fields. All you need to do is sit back, relax, because I assure you that the next 25 minutes will be worth your while.
The advice I will give to federal government to do for our national life is that, as you can see the farm here, most of us will get intentional to do the farm, but we not get enough money to take care of it. Most of like fertilizer, chemicals, and to maintain the farm, we not get the money. If federal government will give us loan to do our farm well, we can do that.
You know, the mobility to it is a engine to pump water and fertilizer. Boho are the big land, hectares of big land.
Gaskiya abin da yake faruwa a wannan lokacin daidai ne yanzu ma da takin muna sayan shi da sauki, amma cikin satukan nan takin ya ma ƙara sama da abin da ya ga nan sai a hankali. Dama ai shi ga mai noman rani iya abun nan bi daga taki mai in ya samu saukin su komai zai zo mai da sauki insha Allah.
And it's always a delight to have you join us on the interview segment of Agriculture in Focus. I will be talking to an expert in the field of agriculture who has a lot of experience that she will be sharing with us. I'm glad to introduce to you Naona Usoroh. Naona, thank you so much for joining us on Agriculture in Focus.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, you're most welcome. As it were, dry season farming is fast becoming a cliche in Nigeria. Share your thoughts with me. Are we on the right path?
Wow, that's a huge question. Let's start with the data.
Okay.
Let's start with the data.
Good.
We have currently just about 170,000 hectares of farmlands that are equipped with irrigation facilities, as opposed to the 3.14 million hectares that need irrigable land, that need the facilities. So that's just under 6% irrigation that we're able to have.
That's right.
So currently the plan is to develop irrigation facilities for 500,000 hectares by 2030. This is according to the Ministry of Water Resources. So having 500,000 hectares by 2020.
Is it achievable? Is it feasible?
For me, the pace is even slow.
Okay.
We should be growing, developing irrigation facilities at least at a rate of 10% of the irrigable land that is available, so that in the next 6-7 years we will have at least 3 million hectares of land under irrigation. All right.
You are an insider. I will want to find out from you, what would you say are some of the challenges militating against this effort?
There's a lot of challenges. The Nigerian factor plays a huge role here. But from my experience working with farming and working with farmers, there are other types of irrigation. There is the smaller kind of irrigation that farmers can do, which is the tube wells, digging of boreholes and pumping water, which is what a lot of farmers do. But in the last year, we've seen a drastic drop in farmers' ability to irrigate. And we know the importance of dry season farming.
That's right.
So we usually advocate that farmers, both small scale and medium scale, plant all year round. Because that's the only way we can be food secure. food security is national security.
That's right.
I stated last year, in September, in another interview, one of the things that my company does is seeds. We produce seeds and we sell to farmers.
Okay.
And I stated that we had our worst sales in the rainy season of 2023. And what that indicated was that most farmers did not go to the farm. And we are seeing the effects now. So my hope at that time in September 2023 was there was a planting window. We have a planting window, dry season planting window.
That's right.
From November to early February 2024. And I expected that there would be aggressive support intervention for dry season farming for all the grains, not just rice.
Okay.
But I haven't seen anything done.
But if you look at what government is saying, government seems to be saying something else. Government is looking at soybeans, is looking at rice, is looking at wheat. You know, just taking a cue from what happened about probably 2 months ago when the Honorable Minister went to declare open the dry season farming, I guess somewhere in Jigawa State.
Okay, yes, I heard of that. I heard that supported through the National Agricultural Growth Scheme, called NAGS, Agro Pockets. They supported, I'm not sure of the number for wheat production, but that's all I've heard. I did expect that by now there would be hundreds and thousands of hectares for other grains that have been planted, but I haven't heard.
You know, this is a question I've asked every guest that has come on this show. I'll want to find out from you, should an effort like this be left only to government?
Absolutely not.
Okay, but it appears that seems to be the case.
So the thing is, because of our dependence on smallholder farmers, by the way, I do believe, you know, the data, we have over about 37% of our workforce involved in agriculture. That's right. And 88% of those farmers are smallholder farmers.
Yes.
So basically we depend on smallholder farmers. But I think it's time for us to look, if we want to be food secure, we need to transition. What is the difference between our system, farming system, and in other countries where they have achieved food security and are net exporters of food and food?
You know, that for me is the trust of this subject today.
So when we you know, like I said, the smallholder farmers have 1 hectare, 2 hectares, fragmented land here and there. It's not feasible for mechanization. No. Mechanization is key for food security. I mean, a friend of mine was telling me about, you know, someone he knows, a father and his son in America that are managing 100 hectares. Wow. Just 2 people, 100 hectares, contiguous land. They were able to access funding from the government at a single digit, I think a long tenured loan facility
repayment plan
with about a year, 2-year moratorium. If our objective is to support smallholder farmers for 1 season, input subsidy helps. But if our objective is to be food secure, to produce enough for our growing population, then we need to transition these smallholder farmers to begin to act like commercial farmers, to begin to act like medium-scale farmers, to begin to access not just their 1 hectare fragmented here and there, but look for contiguous land, 50 hectares, 100 hectares, 200 hectares, as much as they can get, and farm on those lands, so that we can now mechanize. Mechanization access is also a big challenge for Nigeria. Until we fix those things, so we have the security challenge, we have the mechanization challenge, or the smallholder structure challenge that makes mechanization unfeasible. That's right. Then we have the post-harvest challenge. And we have the irrigation challenge as well. That's right. You know, irrigation farming is more productive. So if using a crop like rice, paddy, in the rain-fed season, it's cheaper to farm. That's right. But your yield we are still struggling with a low average yield of about 2.5 tons per hectare. In the dry season, with the same effort, really. That's right. We get up to 4 tons per hectare, which is still not very efficient, because we can get up to 8, 10, 12 tons per hectare if we do it right. Properly. If we do it properly. But, you know, it's still like, so it's better. And it's during the dry season that we farm vegetables. But remember, these are highly perishable vegetables,
That's right.
and they need storage.
Yes.
Cold storage for that matter.
Yeah. Just hold your thoughts there. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at how best we can go into preserving most of these perishable goods that come out of, dry season farming. The program is Agriculture in Focus.
The world is talking about regenerative agriculture.
Activity alone can be a great source of revenue.
You're welcome back. Glad to know you're there. Before we went on break, you were talking about the fact that most of what comes out of the dry season is very perishable. But it just appears there's nothing we're doing in that line.
It appears so to me as well. Look, we have so many challenges.
That's it.
We have so many. We can't solve all of them in one day. But then there needs to be a strategic planning. Look at the problems as they are and say, okay, how do we solve this problem?
That's right.
For example, in every value chain, throughout the value chain, so in the different value chains, all the grains,
that's right,
the vegetables, potatoes, legumes, tuber crops, there are challenges. Can we begin to tackle them one after the other? So yes, security challenge. I usually don't like to talk about it because it's a given.
That's right.
But then we still have farmers that still go to the farm. So for those ones, what are the challenges? One is mechanization. And we can solve that by bringing farmers together, consolidating farmers, and helping them access credits. A lot of private sector, non-profits, international development organizations carry out capacity building activities for smallholder farmers. And I think it needs to go beyond teaching them about good agronomic practices. We need to begin to teach them how to come together as a unit, operate as a unit, and access resources that they need to operate as large-scale farmers. I think that's where the international development or aid or international organizations like ours can help. In terms of the resources, financing that they need or credit that they need, government can come in and rather than do input subsidies, year on year, they can offer, patient capital, single-digit interest. They can offer insurance as an intervention. Tell the banks, look, give these farmers credit, and we will insure the farm, and you act as the first loss payee. These are the options that we can explore. We need to give farmers solar-powered irrigation. I mean, the cost of petrol is almost 700 naira.
All right. As we prepare to round up, I want to find out from you, if we were to come up with a road plan, what would you want to see? If it is from the short, the mid, and the long-term projections, what would you want to see?
Short-term projections is meeting the demand currently, or at least stalling these food prices that we have. We're already in February.
That's right.
I would even say it's too late, to meet up the dry season farming. But that said, that doesn't mean it cannot be done. What that just means is that when farmers are harvesting, it would have started raining, and the moisture content can affect the grains. But then, as a medium-term strategy, we need to begin to consolidate the farmers to access larger scale, medium scale to large scale farmers, to help them access larger portions of land, and then support them with the credit that they need to buy the quality planting materials. So what the government can do is pay the input companies directly and have them deliver it to the medium-scale farmers.
Okay.
And then let's look at storage. Let's look at storage. You know that we have silos that have been concessioned to private sector. Can we also have cold storage that are powered by solar? Since it's expensive, we can have cold storage in the facility of the silos. That can be done. We can have dryers in those facilities, or even in every local government. That can be done. Tackle that. Look, infrastructure is a big challenge. Transportation is a big challenge.
Logistics.
That's why you cannot develop one sector in isolation. You have to partner. There has to be a partnership. There has to be synergy between the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Federal Ministry of Works, Federal Ministry of Transportation,
water resources.
Water resources, exactly. And then, we have one of the lowest yield rates.
Yeah.
So even though we are distributing this generic fertilizer dose. Every farmer in Kwara State, in Plateau State, in Niger State are using this generic dose.
Yeah.
And that's not efficient use of fertilizer.
It has to be based on soil type.
Yes, our productivity. So we also need to teach farmers or explain to farmers the importance of understanding their soil health and breaking it down to the simplest term
for them to understand,
for easy assimilation. And then we'll support NPK blend specific to the soil quality, what the soil needs, because a lot of our soils are already abused. That is why we are not getting the yields that we can get. What they need is this kind of quality or bespoke inputs that is not readily available. I have them access 50 hectares, give them this input and say use it to soak your seeds so that you're also strengthening your seeds. They call it the microbiome of the seed, I think. Strengthen the seed so that the seed is less susceptible to pests and diseases.
Okay.
And the seed is able to take as much nutrients from the soil as much as it can. So these are the kinds of inputs that farmers need to start using. That is where we can see growth. You can't grow what you don't measure.
True.
So we need to begin to measure the successes. If we say we spend 50 billion naira giving inputs to farmers, what is the value of what was produced
at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, have we monitored that? So yes, consolidating farmers, helping them to access larger quantities of land, aiding mechanization services, because that's efficiency.
That's right.
We have, like I said, 36% of our workforce involved in agriculture. In developed countries, it is less.
Less than that.
In my opinion, we have too many people involved in agriculture in Nigeria. So when they say, I hear this, how do we attract youth to agriculture? That's not what we should be talking about. We should be talking about how do we add value to the things that we have produced. The work is in the industry. The money is in the industry. The money is in transforming those raw materials to semi-finished products and finished products and exporting.
Value addition.
Add value. It's in that value chain that there's money. It's not in selling of raw material. If I see that there's money in this business, you don't need to tell me. I will go into the business, right?
Well, Naona,
it's efficiency.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank
you so much for your thoughts. Well, that's about it as far as the interview segment is concerned. I will now hand you over to Abigail Stowe for some news that you can use.
Thank you and welcome to the new segment of Agriculture in Focus. I am Abigail Stowe. The second phase of the federal government's dry season farm initiative will soon commence with the participation of all the states and the Federal Capital Territory in the production of maize, rice, and cassava. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has disclosed. Lagos State is to partner with Niger and Kwara States in food production as a strategy towards meeting food demands of its populace under the Produce for Lagos initiative. The Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, NAQS, and the Nigerian Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority are to collaborate in areas of trade facilitation. Heads of the two agencies are optimistic that this partnership will boost agricultural exports for the country. And now to the global scene. The Global Environment Facility, GEF, has approved 48 FAO-led projects worth about $2.9 billion for fostering of sustainable agri-food systems transformation to end hunger and conserve the environment. The FAO Director General Q.U. Dongyu has reiterated FAO's commitment to supporting farmers and working with researchers and stakeholders to unlock the full potential of pulses such as beans, chickpeas, and peas. This has been the news on the new segment of Agriculture in Focus. Thank you for staying with us, and there's lots more coming your way. I am Abigail Stowe.
Abigail Stowe, thanks as always for that update. It's about time I hand you over to Timmy Simpson for Common Sense Agriculture.
Welcome to Common Sense Agriculture, our low-hanging insights into farming and agribusiness. My name is Timmy Simpson. Increased world population will demand more food production, less water-consuming crops, better crop production, techniques and better strategies for weed control. Looking at weeds and its harmful effects on production in farming, It is important for farmers to consider weed management approaches. These may vary from crop to crop, with focus on organic weed management, non-chemical weed control, and cover crops. Weeding practice in any crop depends on crop factors such as position in rotation and plant spacing, on field factors such as soil type and weed seed bank history, and on seasonal factors like rainfall. Crop losses can be reduced by integrated weed management with resistant crop varieties, rational use of agrochemicals, biocontrol agents, crop rotation, and better cultural practices. The common sense here is to consider sustainable methods of weeding in order to boost farmers' production. Until we come your way again, be guided by these low-hanging insights into farming and agribusiness from Agriculture in Focus. My name is Timmy Simpson.
Timmy Simpson, thank you so much for those words of wisdom. It's about time I hand you over to Balogun Anthony for Trending Fields.
You're welcome to Trending Fields here on Agriculture in Focus. In this segment, we will be highlighting agricultural topics trending all across the internet. My name is Balogun Anthony, and thank you for joining us. Now, for our first trend for today, in a rapid-fire response to the escalating food crisis and relentless surge in commodity prices gripping the nation, President Bola Tinubu has swiftly approved the release of an impressive 102,000 metric tons of diverse grain varieties. Now, these dynamic moves involve tapping into the National Food Reserve and collaborating with the Rice Millers Association of Nigeria. Mr. Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, spilled the beans to the State House correspondents when he said, "We are talking about 42,000 metric tons of deliciousness from the strategic reserves and an additional 60,000 metric tons of rice straight from the Rice Millers Association treasure trove." Now, the minister also disclosed that the government is considering the possibility of importing some of these commodities as a temporary solution or measure in the short term if it becomes absolutely necessary. Now, for our next trend for today, in a lively show of discontent, farmers from Italy, Spain, and Poland hit the streets on Friday, transforming city centers into tractor-filled carnival grounds. Now, these farmers are revving their engines against European Union policies that they say are plowing their profits into the ground. Now, their gripe, the EU's eco-friendly stance and import policies are making their homegrown products more expensive. These farmers have been peacefully picketing for days, demanding more attention from their right-wing government. Now, despite assurances from Italy's Premier, Giorgia Meloni, who sweetened the deal with extra euros and extended tax breaks, the farmers are insisting that they are not budging. And now for our last trend for today, the cocoa conundrum is hitting hard, and we can blame it on Mother Nature's tantrums in West Africa, where heavy rains and the notorious black pod disease are teeming to decimate cocoa crops. Why does this matter, you may ask? Well, West Africa contributes a whopping 70% to the world's cocoa output, but it's not just about the scarcity, it's about the domino effects. Robert Billy, the food and beverage maestro at Cobank, says it's like a double whammy at a time when they're just catching their breath from the sugar surge of the past 3 years. Now imagine a world where your favorite chocolate treats might become rare gems on store shelves. It's a cocoa crisis yelling for remedy actions. That's all for today here on Trending Fields on Agriculture in Focus. You can follow us on social media. The handle is @Patagon_media on all social media platforms. My name is Balogun Anthony. Thank you for staying with us and have a great night.
Balogun Anthony, as always, thank you so much for Trending Fields. And this is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's episode of the program. My name is Alpha Jackton.